So I'm living over here in this 3-2 bath house. It's a nice little house. I mean, not too bad. I mean, I've had better and I've had worse. Anyway, this house is not too bad, and I'm kind of doing a transition now to maybe have another place or to put some of my stuff back in a locker in the main city, because in the big city, because I need to have stuff there because I fly in and out a lot. But anyway, so I'm taking some of my stuff, might get a little apartment over there eventually. I don't know exactly when, but I don't have any plans for anybody watching at this time of the video because I just, you know, sometimes you're just month to month. You really don't know. But this kitchen, of course, bought this refrigerator, but might have to leave it behind. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, you know, the situation. And I think I'm going to just walk around and film different scenarios and living situations for mainly foreigner and Farang, what they call Farang. But here is the outside. It's a nice little area. But it's a nice house, 3-2 bath, bathroom in there, and then a bathroom in here. Typical, you know, rain shower type bathroom. And the bathrooms in Thailand and in Asia are kind of surprising. I mean, the bathrooms in Asia are surprisingly bigger than, I mean, in Southeast Asia than in like Japan or somewhere like that, or Korea. So anyway, everything's different depending on where you go. King size bed, I upgraded the mattress because I had to have something nicer, but that thing was cheaper than US, but still kind of pricey. Got it at a department store. But let me just walk around, and then, you know, this is kind of what you get. This house is only like $225 a month, includes a pool fee. So there's a pretty nice pool. Maybe I'll try to show a screenshot of that, or like a, you know, a B-roll of that. This is an area that the original owner built out here to make an outdoor kitchen, because I guess doing gas, it gets hot, and more cabinets. I've been doing some upgrades, even though it's not my house, because I care and I want the place to be nice if you stay somewhere a while. But we had this waterfall. It's kind of cool. This thing, you plug it in. There's actually fish in there that we brought from some small pond, or my girlfriend did. But it's kind of cool thing. A little bit of water ambience, nature. And then there's these little floating things. Thought about selling them too. You know, I've been buying and selling stuff for a long time on different websites. That's kind of cool. But you got a carport. And then, of course, if you're a Westerner, you got to have your, you know, smoker grill, which I found a good deal on that, but I'm probably going to have to leave it behind. And that's kind of what the video is about. Wash machine, you know, fairly nice LG washing machine. And then I got a bicycle, but people want to run you over and try to about kill you in this country. Japan is nice. Japan's a nice bicycle country. But I was out here working on some stuff, and now I'm at a stopping point. Plus, I got to do some traveling, and I might have to go back home, and that's what this video is about. The problem, you're saving a lot of money here. These houses are more because they're a little bit bigger than ours, if you see them. But this one is a single story, what we're in, more modest. And they go for about 2.5-3 million baht. You know, unless, of course, the owner thinks they can get more out of it. I mean, but that's what we think it's worth. In this area, they're worth about 2.5-3 million baht. Then you got to furnish them. And then a lot of times they only have AC in the bedroom. And that's another thing I'm going to show you really quick. Here's one AC bedroom. Is this last Farang that supposedly I got the store, he lived here a while. He was frustrated because there wasn't no big AC to cool the place, and it has vaulted ceiling in the living room. He bought this. She said he was here a year or so and then just left it, and because he wasn't going to take it. I told my girlfriend, you're not going to take something like that out of the wall, you know what I mean? But it's got a carport, and it's a nice little place. I would say all together with electric water, you're paying 10 to 12,000 baht. that's only like $350, $400 a month. Now the currency does fluctuate, so you just look at the current time. It's about 34 to 35 baht per dollar right now, and it stays around mid-30s per baht per dollar. But that's not bad. I mean, life changes. So, and I'm going to say this up front, sometimes it's not just about who you're with. Sometimes it's also just the situation. So, I was out here for a year, and this is over near Korat, on the other side of Korat, if you know where Korat is. And so it's a pretty good problem, but we're not in Korat. And I did that because I was trying to be closer to her work and her family. There wasn't a lot of facilities, not a lot of shopping. The restaurants were like mixed. And it got to the point where what I'm going to tell you is you don't move out Nissan unless you can go out there like I did and be satisfied with being bored part of the time and sacrifice facility and all that. But what really got me was when I started to go through a change, it seemed like I was kind of on my own, and I'd been trying to make an effort and do things the right way for a while, and then I just needed to make a change. And I tried to tell people around me, hey, look, it's nothing personal, but I need to be near a big city. I need big airport nearby. I'd like to have a metro. If I can't have a metro, at least be able to walk outside like Bangkok or Phuket or Pattaya and get a taxi. It took me weeks just to see if I could get someone to take me to Bangkok, 4.5 hours from here. It's a problem. There's not a lot of restaurants, and there's no mall here. The closest mall is an hour away. And so it's kind of a problem. And there's only 2 or 3 flights a day. I mean, especially for someone running like a video, like YouTube channel, that's not acceptable, especially if they need to travel and they're a foreigner. And I mean, that's why I try to tell my friend and partner, listen, it's not just about our pressure, it's logistics. And please understand that, so what I'm going to tell you is never come out more than a couple months. Keep some limitation and boundaries, especially if you're a foreigner, mainly talking to foreigners right now, about moving out, way out beyond the big cities. I'm going to name them, Bangkok, Chiang Mai, you know what I'm saying? Phuket, Krabi, a few others that have like big airports. I didn't have a car, and I just had a bike because, first of all, the person I was with said, hey, I got a car, you don't need to buy one. Great. They had it before I came. It was their responsibility. I put fuel in it a lot, but it was, it's their car. And I would have shared mine in America. I have a Honda in America, a Honda car. And I would have shared. I don't mind, I don't mind helping anybody out as long as it doesn't hinder me. I mean, like, people that are my family and friends. And to make a long story short, that's fine. And I don't want to throw stones too much, but some people didn't understand what I was doing, or they didn't, like the end result, and a little bit bitter. Don't be like that, but that's fine. That's for another video. And people were saying, hey, tell your story, make more exciting videos, blah, blah, blah. And really, I just wanted to make travel videos of places I went, because I come from travel industry and logistics and e-commerce. And I thought this is something that I can do and give back. Not only that, have fun doing it, but of course, some of them can be a little boring and, mundane, but it's good information. And so I've made a couple that were sort of fun and exciting. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not really making no money at it. And I needed to build it up. And it takes time to build it up. You got to be patient. So what I tell people, if you do it full time, you better have some money saved. Anything you do full time from your laptop, you better have some money saved, and you better plan for maybe the end result not being what you want, but maybe you learn some things like I have. But when it comes not just relationship, it has to work for you. Everything has to be clicking where you're living. You have to have income. You have to survive. That's number one. That's anybody. And then when I, do something, I try to think about things full circle. And but at the same time, you gotta continue, and you got to move forward. So with that said, people are saying, hey, why don't you tell your story? You've been coming back and forth to Thailand and Southeast Asia and traveling the world for a long time. You've had some relationship. You, not only that, you worked for the airlines a while. Not only that, you've had your share. I built a house in Thailand 10 years ago. I've got that experience. There's other things that I can talk about, like relationship. I think maybe I'll talk about, I just been trying to come out of my shell. And not only that, I value my privacy. And at the same time, I wanted to make the channel something that was about travel, and it was, more of a fun thing, But people want drama, people want something exciting. Maybe I can make it funny, and it's a different culture. And, and I know that, and I've tried to be patient. But with a long story short, if y'all see me drop off, it's because I had to change gears and do something different. And I'm in transition now. And what I would tell you, if you come out Nissan, the number one thing that's hurt me is I couldn't, when I needed space, or I needed to give someone space, or maybe I need to be in the city a while and rent like an Airbnb or whatever, a weekly rental. I couldn't because I had no car and I was an hour and a half from the airport. Everybody said, that's your fault. Well, but why would you buy a car you don't need it at times, especially if your partner had one? Second, I had a bicycle. And then third, I was trying to budget. And if you need a car, you need it. But my solution, and I told my partner this, and I told my friend, they said, why don't you just move back to the big city? One of my friends said. And I agreed. I actually said that. I said, I might have to move back to Bangkok or Phuket, where I have facilities. I have things to do. I have restaurants. I have big airports with many flights going everywhere. So think about that, because yeah, you can live cheap. I'm living out here 3-2 bath with a swimming pool in a gated community that is more of a modern style house. There's not as many of these around. It was hard to find, but they are popping up in Isan and northeastern Thailand. And it's only about, with the utilities and everything, like $350 a month. If you include groceries, like $400 or $500 a month. That's cheap. Bangkok is going to be another $200 or $300 a month, and then Phuket has gone up because of all the foreigners after COVID-19 going there, especially certain countries that we know about. But the point is you can have different things and you can try to make adjustments, but sometimes it's not going to be to everybody's liking. And I try to tell both sides, and I try to be transparent. But at the same time, you got to survive, and you have your life experiences. And I might tell some of that, but I would say anybody watching, if you're in a relationship, there's always going to be people that want you to come, and they want the good times, and maybe they're needy a little bit. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself. And not only that, if you're not making income and you're not a pensioner, and even pensioners have sometimes a low pension, just enough to pay rent, utilities, and food. And so with that said, before you met someone, their problems most of the time were already there. So, and that's what I tell people. Look, I don't create problems for someone. I try to solve them. Everywhere I go, I try to be helpful. And if I can't, I do not cause people a problem. I go. Or I stay a little bit and then I go. But the point is you gotta, do what you gotta do. And I don't know what I'm gonna do and how much of this video I'm gonna edit. But even my partner, my girlfriend now said, you should tell your story. Just try to, be, honest and fair about what you say, which I am. I'm honest and fair, but a lot of people will hate on what you say. You know why? Because they're insecurities and because they think you're bad-mouthing where they're from. No, there's a lot of bad things about my country. They're big things, but we work on them as we go. And people there understand, the world, I think, a little bit better, and they understand politics to a certain degree. But the thing is, and we've got our own problems. But then, of course, everywhere you go in the world is going to have problems. And I might do a video about the good things and then the not so good things that I like about living abroad, and particularly Thailand. And I've stayed in Japan a while, and I've stayed in Malaysia a while. I might talk about this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of great things about Southeast Asia, especially Thailand is very balanced. But there's also some catch-22, especially if you're a Westerner. So, and I'm going to talk about that, whether you should own land or not, whether you should think about it. You know, it's kind of like a mouse trap. Eventually that trap going to go off when you try to grab that cheese and you try to go. Just remember that, and we'll talk about that. You can't own land in Thailand unless you get special permission from the Interior Ministry. Anybody says you can, email me and I'll tell you different. Okay? And they're always going to side with the local. Okay? And especially if you don't have like a prenup agreement, which is sour grapes to talk about when you're happy and in love trying to get married. Okay? Even in America, you know, you don't want to talk about too many prenup unless you're in California or something. You don't want to talk about that kind of stuff too much unless you just got a shit ton of money. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm just kind of like, you know, your average guy, you know, trying to get by. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching.